Hey, Lynn, it's Clay Buck with Fundraising is Funny. Just calling to leave you a voicemail. Just wanted to check in. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great weekend. I just wanted to check in. I sent you an email about the event in July of 24, and I didn't hear back from you, so I shot you a quick text. So I just wanted to see if you got that or the Slack, and hoping that we can talk soon. I'm free on Tuesday at 1, Thursday at 4, and next Monday at 12. If you just want to Slack or text or shoot me an email back or whatever, I'll look forward to talking to you. And I don't hear from you if I don't hear from you by tomorrow, I'll call your mom and check in with her and have her pass on a voicemail to you. Thanks. Have you ever gotten that voicemail?
I feel like I have some of those voicemails right now.
I think half of our listeners just tuned out.
They all just had a trauma bond. Shannon, my concierge, is probably rocking back and forth in her chair right now. But
somebody is taking a Silkwood shower and crying.
Right? If that voicemail has never hit you, they have popped up on your Teams unexpectedly, or people who FaceTime you out of nowhere, or the worst, they just show up in your shared office space hi, this is my favorite. Hi, Clay. And you're
Yeah, but you're in one of those places where, your back is to the central.
Clay, hi.
Yeah.
Did you get my email?
Yes.
I had sent it 2 minutes ago.
Yes, I got it.
Yeah, it's about the vice president's going to need something in September.
Understood. Thank you.
But it's April now.
I'll take care of it.
Well, I know, but could we talk about the email I sent?
Yes. Schedule time with me.
But Clay, I'm here now. We could just knock it out right here. I will tell you, Clay, as a person who I work best via email or text, but short. Super short.
Yes, I've learned that the hard way.
It's okay. I don't need the feelings. I don't need the how you doing, how your mama doing, how your family doing. I don't need all
Who
that.
was that comedian? That was
totally.
80s or 90s?
Yeah. But all this to say is we make the urgent out of the least important thing in the world. And there's always that one person in your office who's literally that voicemail caused a little bit of trauma trigger for me. Yeah. Trauma trigger. That's a new phrase I'm going to coin.
Yeah. And now in where many of us and the importance of are going into hybrid and virtual environments and remote and
this whole expectation that I be available all the time. Now, and of course you're in my voicemail and I'm going, Lois, I don't actually listen to my voicemails. What I do with my voicemails when they show up on my phone is I wait for them to transcribe.
Yes.
Into text.
Yes.
And if they're longer than say an inch big on my phone, I'm swipe delete.
You know what I want to hear from people on fundraisingisfunny.com.
Oh.
I want to hear from people. One, do you actually leave voicemails anymore? Especially if you know you're calling a mobile phone. Do you leave No, I want to hear from others.
Oh.
Do you leave a voicemail? And number two, I want to hear if you actually listen to voicemails.
I want to know what your longest voicemail currently on your phone is.
Oh.
And, some companies have eliminated voicemail altogether, places like Coca-Cola, IBM. And what cracks me up is when something's super urgent at a nonprofit, no communication happens. And then when something is next year and a half, they're
there's a meeting.
Oh my God, 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 oh my God. And so it's just so interesting to me, this whole communication chain, or maybe, and Clay, I will say that I have done a communications exercise that was really helpful.
Okay, tell me.
So I had two departments that were really clashing. Blang, 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 blang. I haven't watched Game of Thrones, but I think it was like that. Winter was coming and all those other phrases. And there were battle axes drawn and there was, passive aggressive candy eating and all kinds of other stuff going on in the office between the two teams. And so what I found out, though, not only was it a failure to communicate, it was a failure to understand the communication preferences of the team members. So the two teams that were clashing, one was composed of mostly extroverts, people who enjoyed being in person, people who enjoyed having face-to-face conversations and meetings, and advancement services.
I was going to say, and prospect research.
And advancement services department who were mostly in their own world, were mostly introverted, enjoyed emails so that they had a record of everything someone requested or did. And the two departments were just a clash. And so...
Oh my God, from Greece. Clash.
What's that? I don't know. I was just playing along to make you feel good. See? Inclusive leadership, it's me. And so I came to both groups and I said, neither of you are wrong. You
Right.
just are not, A, having any grace for each other, and B, not understanding who each other are as people. And so somewhere in the middle is the solution. Like I feel like sometimes at organizations, not only as a consultant, but as a donor relations professional, my polygotness, I'm the great translator, right? Mm-hmm. And so what I found out is that, so we did a exercise where we went through and said, you receive a communication. How do you respond? Every answer is legitimate and acceptable.
Is not responding an answer?
No. Well, it is. Every answer is legitimate and acceptable during the exercise.
During the exercise.
Ghosting people is never acceptable at work. Yes, Clay. Even those people you don't want to respond to.
But
lack of communication is a communication, sir.
But no response is also a response.
Lack of communication is a communication.
No response is a response. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying that flippantly, but it is also true.
It means I don't give a hoot about you.
It means I don't give a hoot about you. It also might mean I didn't see it.
It could mean that. It could also mean I have no home training. Oh, wait, sorry. My judgment just flew in the door. Here's what I think. Okay, so can we go back to the exercise and then I'll tell you what I think?
Yes,
Or should
please.
I tell you what I think and then go to the exercise?
I don't know. I got lost in the choices.
Right. You didn't.
Could you do me a favor? Could you create a poll and send it out via email?
Doodle poll.
And
There's nothing worse than a
doodle poll.
When people send me a doodle poll, I don't respond.
You know what I've started doing? And I know you're telling a story, but I'm interjecting. What I've started doing when people send a doodle poll, this is so terrible. I send them my Calendly link.
Okay. That's evil. And I don't use Calendly because this is where you and I differ. I think Calendly is rude. That's why I have a Shannon. She is my Calendly.
Yes.
Now I understand that not everybody has a Shannon.
Yes.
But Calendly.
Well, and not everybody has a good Shannon too.
Well, that's true. Calendly puts the onus on scheduling with you, the person who needs you. And
yes.
For me, I don't want my paying clients now.
Yes.
Internal.
Fair.
I don't want my paying clients not to have good customer service.
Sure.
So that's why I have a Shannon.
Sure. But let's come back to Calendly, but finish your yeah.
The other problem with Calendly is it's egalitarian. And Shannon is not.
Oh,
so,
Shannon, we love you.
Shannon knows.
Shannon has saved me more times than I can count.
Right? Shannon knows. Oh, that's a very important read.
Fair.
Expensive client.
Fair.
And if they need time, they're going to get a priority over somebody who's like,
Fair.
I just want to pick Lynn's brain. See, if I have a Calendly, someone who just wants to pick my brain can end up blocking 3 hours away from a paying client. So that also is difficult for me. So
yes.
I'm just giving you my rationale. I just think it's rude.
We'll come back to Calendly. Yes.
Let's go back to the two departments that were trying to communicate and were failing. They failed to understand. So when we went through the exercise of communication preference, the extroverts love to communicate in person first and on the phone second. That was their strong communication preference.
Okay.
And when I talked to the other department, my department of introverts, they wanted email first, text or direct messaging second. And in person and on the phone was like 74 out of 74. Right. Like completed the race, not just finisher, like you didn't get a place, finisher. And so therefore, it's not what they were saying. It's how, the channel. It's like when someone sends me a direct mail solicitation.
Sure.
Rejected.
Sure.
Rejected. Just because you didn't listen. It's like, Clay, when someone misspells your name.
Oh, done.
Rejected.
Done. No.
So these two departments couldn't come together because they weren't communicating across the same channel. I have a communication for you, Clay. Would you like it in text, email, voicemail, in person, or face-to-face, or over Microsoft Teams or Slack? But I need to tell you it right now. It's important.
Your urgency is not mine.
But no, but it's about to be your urgency. Believe me, you'll want to be urgent about this.
But I'm being serious.
Yes, but we need a snack.
Oh.
See, I knew I could get through to you. Didn't matter the channel. We needed some snacks.
We need a snack.
So we're going to take a break.
What are good time-sensitive snacks? Like, what's it? Yeah, anyway, we'll come up with that.
I'll house a kind bar.
Now or laters.
That's punny. That's not time sensitive.
But it was good.
You can't have an hour and later and then try to have a meeting because you'll be like...
That's true.
Oh, that was a snack and a half.
Oh, man.
Wow. I mean, I got it in voicemail, email. I snack upside the head. Oops, upside your head. But you know, Clay,
upside your head.
We were just
snack upside your head.
Oh, Lord. We were just talking about not understanding communication styles.
Okay, so communication is the communication, the responsibility of the communicator or the receiver.
So it depends on what you want, as I say so eloquently. So I love Adam Grant. You know, I love Adam Grant, author of Give and Take, author of Think Again. Like, I'm obsessed.
Yes.
He and I once exchanged emails, but it's a whole nother. So exciting. Okay. And he says, your inbox is full of other people's priorities.
Yeah, I love that phrase. Yes.
Love it.
Yes.
Now, if you want something, if the sender wants something from the receiver, to me, it's the sender's responsibility to adapt to the receiver.
Yes.
Clay, this is where Calendly comes in for me.
Yes.
If I want to pick your brain, it's the worst phrase. There's nothing I hate more than people who want to pick my brain, because there's not much up there and it rattles around a lot.
Can I just interject just really quickly, just a real great piece of advice on that? Mm-hmm. Because it comes from the great philosopher and thinker and writer and encourager, Pit Bull.
And what does the bull, Mr. Pitt, say?
Ask for advice. Ask for money and get advice. Ask for advice, get money twice. Right? People love to be asked for advice. Yeah,
Poetic.
I get that email or text, whatever. Can I pick your brain?
No.
Could I ask you for some advice about this, and this?
Yes.
Well, of course. You want my advice? I feel so flattered. And
Excuse me, let me get on my advice-giving shirt.
Absolutely. Here is my Calendly link.
Right.
Yeah.
Or, hey, Shannon will help you find a time when I can help you.
Exactly. Precisely. So
but
it's all about the approach.
It requires humility as well, and vulnerability.
But doesn't all good communication require humility and vulnerability?
Unless the recipients just piss you off that day and you just... No, don't do that, people. It's a career-limiting move.
Yeah.
All this to say... So your question is valid. Is the communication on the sender or the receiver?
Yes.
So for me, it's always on the sender as much as possible.
Yes.
Because I'm the one popping up. Now, I tend to work with a lot of very hierarchical organizations.
Yes.
Also has to do with hierarchy. So I'll give you a trick I learned a long time ago.
Tell me.
About communication and having difficult communication with somebody who may outrank you in an organization. It's not the military, but it's close.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go to them. Go to them.
Yeah.
So in this example of our extroverts and our introverts, our extroverts wanted things from the introverts.
Yes.
Our introverts were like, could you stop bothering me? The extroverts should adapt their style to the introverts if they want something from them.
Yes.
They're of equal stature in the organization. And that's the other thing, is not thinking that you're better than someone else. The other thing I've noticed is some people like a one-on-one discussion rather than a meeting, right? Again, it's the idea that we need to be as flexible as possible. Now, if I have someone that I deem untrustworthy, I do a lot of things in writing with them.
I am a big believer on the CYA.
Yeah. All that to say is that communications, we adapt. Sometimes I have to adapt my communication to the person above me or a client, right? Like maybe I think in Word and they think in PowerPoint.
Oh, I've told you about the organization that I'm working with, that the team that I work with thinks in Excel, but the VP thinks in Word.
Oh, okay.
So we cannot send an Excel report to the VP. So we have to do every report twice.
That's fun, isn't it?
Well, but once we started doing that, we started getting results and we started getting response. So yes.
So again, all this is what we really need to be thoughtful about is the recipient.
Yes.
Sometimes more so than ourselves. And that's not easy to do some days. We also need to be respectful that what is urgent to someone may be important to someone else, but not at all on someone else's radar until it is reprioritized.
Now, at the risk of opening doors to things, can we talk about our different styles in communication?
Oh, yeah.
That we've acknowledged?
Oh, yeah.
I'm a sandwich communicator. Give me something good. Give me something good.
No.
Give me something bad. No. And then close it off with something good. And that is how I communicate. I have learned over time that you do not need that.
I want a sandwich always, but not a platitude and then a criticism and then a platitude. Because that's how I see it in my brain.
And
I know what you're doing. You're trying to fool me into softening the feedback. And I think, Clay, the reason that I'm not as open to the sandwich method, and we should do a whole podcast on the sandwich method.
We should do a whole sandwich podcast.
Is that, and the reason I'm not...
You guys, I'm sorry, I have to tell you this, that Lynn just gestured at me to make a note about the sandwich podcast, which is
direct communication, and look what he's doing right now.
Precisely.
He knows what he needs to do. All this to say is that direct communication works for me. And it doesn't work for everyone. And I have to adapt. So why don't people have to adapt to the directness? Why is it always one way and not the other?
Yeah.
And I will tell a story during the sandwich podcast about that my whole life. And so, sometimes sandwiching isn't delivered well because it comes across as artifice.
And I don't need a fake sandwich. I want a real sandwich.
Yeah.
Hey, Clay, hope you had a great weekend. We need to do blah, blah, blah. That's all I need. I need a little foreplay, Lynn. Just a little bit.
Oh my God.
Just a little bit.
And I'm all business. I got places to be, things to do. Let's go here. I'm all about a little bit of pleasure and intensity, but let's go. So all this to say, our punchline.
Because we started with... Did
you get my email?
The email with the text, with the Slack, with the blah.
First of all, respect the people you're communicating with.
Correct.
Once you've sent one communication, give them a reasonable amount of time to respond. And a reasonable amount of time varies by the channel. I'm going to be very honest about that. So for me, a reasonable amount of time for a text is different than a reasonable amount of time for an email. They have different senses of urgency for me.
I had this conversation with a dear friend of mine who is much younger, but who said to me, "I'm sorry, you should reply to a text within an hour or two." Which I said, "I'm sorry, I will reply to the text when I damn well feel like it." So that's my
friend Angie. She is not tied to her phone, but those of us that live via text, or I do WhatsApp because that's our...
I do WhatsApp too,
right?
Yeah.
What? Oh my God, I've got to be on WhatsApp with you now. Okay, but here's the thing. 97% of texts are open within 3 minutes of receipt. Isn't that crazy?
Sure.
But for me, my sense of urgency goes with my sense of communication. Some people look at their inbox as a to-do. Some people look at it as a fire escape. Some people have 12,000 unopened emails, but we won't talk about that at all. Some of us can't go to bed until we have 0 red dots on our phone at night.
I don't understand
all this.
But whatever.
I completely understand my OCD. All this to say is we need to have grace for everyone.
24,744. I just don't think that that's a problem. But anyway.
I have 0.
I manage 12 different inboxes, and that's another thing.
4 different inboxes.
You don't know what
somebody's got going on.
You just don't.
So the punchline here is, though, that
kindness,
one of the kindness and patience, but
yes,
one of the easiest things you can do if you don't feel like you're being heard by someone, or you don't feel, or if you're having feelings and you don't know what's going on and your communication isn't going well,
Yeah.
go ask them, hey, what's your preferred communication method, Clay?
Yeah. See, yes.
How would you like to chat?
How would you rather?
How would you rather? And then work on adapting. You may not have to change everything, but work on adapting. So, for example, and also saying to someone, hey, I'm going to be doing this, so if I don't get back to you, I want to let you know why. Or, if you got somebody close to you and they just FaceTime you out of nowhere, and you might also be on a webinar with 2,000 people, pointing at my partner here.
I was going to say, why are you holding my hand?
You can hang up on them and then send them a text and say, on webinar with 2,000 people, sorry, friend, and not have them get truly upset at you because they wanted to tell you about the new snack they found at Terrible's that day. But it wasn't urgent, but you take a FaceTime as the end of the world, because when your parents FaceTime you, it might be the end of the world.
It was a good snack, though.
I know it was a good snack, but I was like...
But also...
I'm on front of 2,000 people. How do I do FaceTime as well? And if I could have figured it out to not hurt your feelings, I would have done it.
I know you would have.
And I didn't just hang up. I sent you a message saying why I couldn't.
You did.
But who FaceTimes people out of nowhere? People in airports.
I only FaceTime friends. I only FaceTime close
people
friends.
in airport lounges.
People. Okay, that's a
grocery
whole
shopping.
other thing. Could I add to your punchline?
Sure, you can always add.
If you are messaging somebody internally with a sense of urgency, explain it.
Yeah, explain why it's urgent.
Don't come at me or anybody with, did you get? Put at the top of the email, understand you're busy. There is some urgency to this.
Or urgent from VP.
Correct. Right.
That gets attention. But also remember, some people don't have their email open all day either.
Some people don't have their email open all day.
Or on their phones, their personal phones. They don't have their work email. They set good boundaries. Imagine that.
And if it's really, 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 really that urgent, why is it coming across via email?
Right.
Why didn't it come up in the meeting or the plan or something?
Do something else.
Yeah. But no.
But all this is filled with grace and filled with laughter because literally this podcast came out of a voicemail and email. And I was like, all for something that there was nobody, like my mom says, somebody better be bleeding or dying, and nobody was on fire and the world is okay. And here's the other thing about fundraising and it being funny. Nothing's that urgent. We don't save we're not doing brains, we're not saving a dying animal. We're fundraising.
All right, then.
Send us your thoughts on this. Fundraisingisfunny.com.
Send us your favorite. And we are literally telling you to go to fundraisingisfunny.com and message us that way. The first person that tries to schedule a meeting with me on my Calendly to tell me their funny story, I'll probably take it and laugh. Anyway.
And the first person who tells me to buy Calendly, I will laugh. So
they have a free version.
Oh, well, that's not happening either because I have Shannon and she's amazing. So, we
take care of
so
yourselves,
enjoy
everybody.
you guys. Thank you.
Communicate with grace. We love you.